Welcome to the very first episode of Just a Tip, the podcast where we say the shit that everyone's thinking but nobody's saying. We're not here to sugarcoat an industry. We're here to talk real stories with the real people that helped shape the city. And to kick things off, we had to start the first episode with the two people that built Miami nightlife at its peak, Ingrid Casares and Paciello. Ingrid was the plug before Instagram existed, a nightlife powerhouse with real influence and not followers. She had Madonna on speed dial and a sixth sense for what was cool before it even hit. Chris, a New York bad boy that turned nightclub king. The guy who made headlines, moved crowds, and had the type of energy that made you want to be in the room. Now, if you don't know those names, you're either too young or never made it past that velvet rope. They owned Liquid. It wasn't just a nightclub, it was the nightclub. We're talking Madonna, J.Lo, Diddy, Versace. They weren't just in the building, they were regulars. In this episode, we get into it all. What it was like running one of the most legendary nightclubs in all Miami when shit was wild. How nightlife has changed for better or worse. The power plays, the parties that made it happen behind the scenes. And what they think of the scene now. Exclusivity, bottle service, and how nightclubs may or may not have lost their magic. It's not a history lesson, it's a wake-up call. If you work in restaurants, hospitality, or real estate, and you think you understand Miami, this episode will humble you real quick. Let's get into it. This episode of Just a Tip is brought to you by Rooftop Solutions. So the craziest thing happened. You might have even seen it in the news. A restaurant in Wynwood had to shut down for years after a leaky roof caved in. Imagine all that money, time, momentum gone just because the roof wasn't handled right. And that's why I always recommend Rooftop Solutions. They've been protecting homes and businesses all over Miami-Dade and Broward for over 20 years. They're local, based in Hialeah, and they take pride doing the job with honesty and craftsmanship so your roof stands the test of time. And here's the deal. If you got a leak, they will patch it for free while prepping your roof to be replaced. So unless you want to add a lazy river in your dining room, call Rooftop Solutions, tell them Felix sent you. Guys, so thank you so much for coming along today. I am super excited. I am such a fanboy. I've always been a student of the game, of nightclubs in the 90s and the 2000s. And Chris Paciello, Ingrid Casares, you guys set the bar for what nightclubs back then should be. And I think you gave everybody in Miami a moment in time that I don't think we'll ever capture again. So first and foremost, thank you so much for coming on. I believe this is your first podcast together that you guys have ever done, right?
Yes, very
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
I am super fanboyish right now. I'm such a fan of both of you guys.
Thank you.
Chris, actually, two of us are from Brooklyn. So I think that first question is, how did you wind up in Miami?
My brother Keith, he came down here for spring break one time. And we came back we were living in Staten Island at the time. He was just telling me how great Miami was. You have to go check it out. And back then, I think for spring break, I didn't go to college, but spring break was Acapulco, Cancun, and I'd never been to Miami. So I ended up coming down here at that time. I just fell in love with it. Every weekend I started coming as much as I can. And it just was like, it was magic.
Did you do any nightclubs in New York?
No, I mean, I started going out late in life. All I cared about was making money.
Right.
And I was a bad boy back then, especially. And so I didn't start going out till about 19 and, sneaking into the clubs in Limelight because they didn't even let us in. To Guido's from New York.
Wednesday night, right? Disco 2000?
Lord Michael Future Shock and Limelight Palladium, Tunnel, USA, where Peter ran nightlife in the city. So that's how I got exposed to nightlife. So when I moved out to Miami, I started going down a lot, and I needed a reason. I wanted to get out of New York for other issues. And when I got down to Miami, I just was trying to figure out what did I want to do next. And I was actually looking to do a car wash or something. And some guys that I know from some wise guys I knew from Staten Island, heard I was down there and I was looking to do something, and they actually owned Mickey Rock's club at the time, which was called Mickey's, and I ended up cutting a deal with them to take over the space. I knew nothing about nightlife besides going out and being a consumer at the time.
And is this what became Risk?
Yeah, absolutely. This was back in '93. I signed the lease, and I opened November of '94. I was 22.
So that's how Risk happened?
Yeah.
Correct. I was living in Los Angeles. So I left after college. I went to LA in '91 And then in 90, so I survived in Los Angeles doing multiple things. And then in 93, I was asked by the Stefans, Flora and Emilio, to work on a project with John Cicada.
Just another day without you.
Correct. His second album was coming out, and they wanted to sort of revamp his whole image, sort of to make him, you know, much more crossover into the American market, less Latin, more American. Not American, I want to say Latin American, but more commercially viable in the American market. And so I worked on that project for 2 years. So I would go, I was traveling from Miami, New York, Los Angeles, doing the triangle for many years.
So then the big question, how did the two of you guys meet?
You want me to take it? Okay, so I was in Miami in 90, I think it was 94.
94.
Yeah, 94. And it was like Easter break, and I was staying at Madonna's house.
Oh, we're gonna get to that. That's a whole
Okay.
conversation.
So I was staying at Madonna's house, and I wanted to go out for reasons. And
You want to get high?
I want to get high. And I wanted to party. And so the only person I knew in Miami that probably any connection was my assistant at the Stefan, which is a guy named Henry. Henry's best friend is a guy named Hochi. So he said to me, call Hochi. He's out and about in South Beach. He works in a club. So I called Hochi. He said, I'm running a night, and it's this place called Risk on Friday night. And I came in that Friday night, and he introduced me to Chris. They gave me a tour of the place. And
What was your first impression of him?
of Chris,
Yeah.
handsome, good looking, charming. And then I got to know him. No, I'm just kidding. No, but very handsome, like very polite. Nothing. He was kind of shy. I would say he was kind of shy, but always very polite. You know, I mean, it was loud or whatever, but we hung out, we partied, we had shots, whatever it is. That was.
And how did the friendship kind of blossom into a partnership?
Well, we kept in touch after that, and then so I cut to like a couple of months later. He took me out. I kept coming back and forth from Los Angeles to Miami. I think during Memorial Day, which is my birthday, he took me out for lunch, and then he said, "Listen, this is before Rebirth, I think."
No, it's after.
After?
Yeah, that's why I was opening a new club.
Oh, okay. So after Rebirth, he said, "I want to open a new club, and I've been thinking, do you be partner and be my, you know, I want to open a club." And I didn't even think about it twice. I said yes right away. My end with the Estefans was coming. My job with the Estefan was coming to an end, and I always said to myself, I know so much now. I want to bring all my knowledge to Miami in some way, in some sort of business. And so it was just perfect timing.
So, question, we're talking about the music business. How did the friendship, or what the media speculated as a romance between you and Madonna start?
Friendship.
Friendship, okay. See, motherfuckers, you got it wrong.
Correct.
So how did you meet Madonna, and how did you guys become such good friends?
So we met in 91. I was invited to a birthday party through a mutual friend of ours. And I think we sort of hung out that night in her birthday. And after that, I kept seeing her at parties in intimate settings. And we both loved to run. Like, we were runners. I was a big runner. She was a big runner. And I was in New York for Christmas and New Year's, and she had she usually has a trainer, security. You're talking the height of Madonna,
Right.
91. Like, you can't just go out and send a partner run by yourself.
Right.
So she said, "Do you want to go running one morning?" And we would just talk while we would run, and sort of that's how it kind of blossomed. And then she also asked me to do her sex book, and so
Steve Mizell, right?
by Stephen, correct? Stephen and her both took me out to dinner to invite me to go, to ask me to do the book. And so, and then when we shot the book, which was shot in Miami,
Whose idea was it to shoot in Miami?
Stephen,
Okay.
That's when the photographers were first coming to Miami. Like Bruce Weber had done the Calvin Klein campaign down here. Versace was just on, like, starting to come here to shoot his campaign. Like, and Steven was one of the first photographers as well. So they were shooting in Miami. It's beautiful. I mean, it was like nobody knew about South Beach. It was like a blank canvas.
Right.
So we started. She said when she fell in love with Miami and said, "I want to buy a house here." And the last place that she shot her book was in her Coconut Grove house, and the people from Bird Eyes were living there. And she said, she knocked on the door and said, "I want to buy your house." And they said, "It's not for sale." She goes, "Everything's for sale." She sent them a number. They said, "Here's the keys," and that's how it happened.
Amazing.
Yeah.
The shot that you did, I think that was with Isabella Rossellini, right?
Isabella Rossellini and Diane von Fusco's daughter, Tatiana. So yeah, it was the three of us. And that was on Golden Beach.
How was that whole experience?
It was, a little nerve-wracking, but I was also 25, and so I was open for all experiences. I mean, you're talking about the best photographer in the world. So.
And then the naked hitchhiking, that was Golden Beach.
Yeah, that was Golden. I wasn't there for that.
Right.
That was the day before I shot.
So now you're great friends with Madonna.
Correct.
You meet Chris.
Yes.
How did Liquid, whose idea was Liquid, how did Liquid come about?
That was all him. So, you take it.
How Liquid came about?
Yeah.
So after Risk caught fire, which I did not do, like everyone know that. I mean, it's been proven. I talk about it, right? But it did. After that, I signed a new lease on another space right up the block, and at that point, it was like a fresh start for me. Now I had some experience in the nightclub business, and after meeting Ingrid, I knew all the locals. I was going out every night. I, got to know everybody. But I knew Ingrid would bring a special magic to the place, and give me access to a clientele, a crowd that I didn't know, the celebrity clientele, and so
The Page Six.
Yeah,
clientele.
Page Six and publicists and all that. It was not a world that I was familiar with.
Where did you guys kind of pull influence from for Liquid? Like, what was going to be the...
I from going out in New York, from Peter Gation's clubs, from Limelight, Palladium Tunnel, all that stuff, just being a student of that game going out, I tried to recreate. When I came to Miami, even before Risk, the clubs were like bars. You walk in with flip-flops with $2 drinks, and, they were like honky-tonk bars.
Right.
So there was no real nightclub.
Was it, at that time, was it more of like, obviously New York, the clubs that you mentioned, Limelight, Tunnel, Palladium, Club USA, they were all more of like the big venue nightclubs, right? Was there anything like that here at the time?
Warsaw.
No,
Warsaw.
I didn't even go to Warsaw.
Right.
Correct.
It was a gay club
Right.
at the time, and
Correct.
I just didn't have a reason to
Right.
go to it,
Correct.
because they weren't bringing big DJs down.
Oh, that's
So
true.
nobody was. It
That's
was just local stuff. So when I
Right.
started, after I started Risk, I brought Lord Michael down. I learned the business end of it a little bit. And so when I opened Liquid, I had some knowledge, I had some experience, I had some momentum. I knew all the locals. I met Ingrid. And I think the timing in Miami
Yeah.
was just right for something like that. And so when we launched Liquid, I mean, it was incredible from day one.
Timing in some of these things, that's when some people come and.
It was a perfect storm.
It was the perfect storm. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better. It was the perfect time to do a club if you had the right people doing it. Once we did it, then everybody else thought that they could just do it.
Right.
Well, the right concept too.
Correct.
So like I said, Miami was right for a high energy nightclub, and the timing couldn't have been better because the Delano was opening that weekend.
Correct.
And Ingrid secured the after party from the Delano. So opening night, it didn't hurt to have Sylvester Stallone, David Geffen, Barry Dillon, Naomi Campbell, Kate Moss, Madonna, the Estefans.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty
Klein.
spectacular. Calvin Klein.
Yeah. And the list goes on and on and on.
And so I'm some punk kid from Brooklyn sitting in this club that I just opened with my partner, and I'm looking around like, where the fuck all these people
Right.
go?
And Chris was smart to bring a New York DJ, which was his
Junior
favorite.
Vasquez.
Correct.
Junior as in
He-
Palladium, Saturday Night
Biggest
Arena.
DJ in
Junior,
the world
he was
at
the
the
greatest.
time when DJs weren't gods. You know, he was a god.
Twilo and Arena
One of the
Saturday
best
nights.
DJs I know to this day is one of my favorites.
Yeah, he
And
loved it.
you know, to get him out of New York.
So Junior played opening
Opening
night.
night at Liquid, yeah.
Wow.
Opening night.
Wow.
And you know, so you put us on a different stage now.
Right.
So opening night, one of the difference, I'm sure we'll get to that later, but the clubs back then, it was such a melting pot. It wasn't a straight crowd, a gay crowd. It wasn't black, white. It was just a melting pot. Drag queens. It was a lot of color, creativity. So when
Club
everybody
kids.
comes together and the crowd is cultivated like that, it was you know, it was so much fun.
Because Lord Michael was one of the club kids, and like
He was
why not?
part of that scene.
Michael Allen crew.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if he was part of that
Yeah.
for sure. But by the time Liquid opened, Michael went back to New York. He had nothing to do with it.
So
We created our own club kids, you know, that's what but organically.
Right.
They just appeared, like they felt like a lot of these club kids that were now, because Peter Gation was in trouble in New York, they started coming to Miami and so we cultivated our own, and they had their own stuff going
Well,
on.
there was a good gay scene going.
There was a great gay scene
I
coming
mean,
on.
it
And
was
by
the
the
Versace
way,
days. This
Yeah,
was
there
that
was a
was-
great gay scene, and they enjoyed going to the straight clubs at the time.
Correct.
Because they were comfortable.
right.
correct. And they knew they were safe at our place. And by the way, then the gay night that we had was like, it was incredible. Like everybody, I had friends from Los Angeles that would take these weird planes just to come on Sunday night to come to the gay night on Sunday night. Yeah, it was huge.
What were some of the
And
places
a lot of
that?
straight people would
Yeah.
go there because that's where the good DJs were.
So let me tell you guys something I see all the time. You take over a second gen space, you think it's turnkey, but the second you walk in, it's not exactly what you need. Maybe the bar layout doesn't flow, maybe the kitchen's a little outdated, or the bathrooms look like they haven't been touched since the 90s. That's why I tell all my clients, you need to call Brodson Construction. Whether you're building from the ground up or not, you still need finishing touches done right. Brodson's been local and family run since 1989. They're the top 1% in Florida, and they've handled everything from luxury homes on Star Island to some of Miami's best retail and restaurant spaces like LPM, Cipriani, Hillstone, Bell Harbor, just to name a few. Bottom line, don't settle for nickel and dime contractors who might underbid the work to win the job up front and screw you over in the end. Brodson maintains integrity every step of the process to build enduring relationships and never exploit clients. So remember, if you're going to build, call Brodson Construction. Look, as a business owner, I'll be real with you. Running my brokerage takes up all my time. And in Miami, if you're not showing up online or on social media, you just don't exist. That's why I've worked with Sage Marketing Studios from the very beginning. Website, social, even this podcast. They're the ones behind the camera. Building strategy, keeping it consistent, and making sure my brand looks like it actually belongs in the city. So just a tip. Stop having your cousin post blurry iPhone pics once every 3 months. Hit up Sage Marketing Studios. You can find them on Instagram at socialmedia.sage and tell them Felix sent you.
Right. What were some of the places that you guys would hang out with, like while you were developing Liquid, and like what were the hot spots?
Back then, Velvet was a fun club for me. Amnesia open,
Hooja.
Groove Jet.
Now,
I was
did,
in
you,
Living
did you
Room.
guys take any of those promoters, or because
You know what? I'm totally honest. We didn't use promoters back then.
Yeah, we didn't
were
use
the
promoters.
you know?
We were the promoters.
We
didn't
had a
have-
couple of people that worked in-house that were kind of like the modern day hosts, I guess.
Yep.
Coachy and-
You know, especially for the gay night,
Yeah.
Right.
Jack Bengio
And David.
And David. And then for Fat Black Pussycat, Ernie Harrell, you know, Conrad Gilbert. You know, these were in-house people that worked for us. The only one who really got any kind of promoting fee or part of the door at that time wasn't really bar promotion, was Ernie on Fat Black and David and Jack on the game. The rest, Friday, Saturday, the rest of the weekend, we were the promoters.
The VIP waitress, the hostesses,
Yep.
they had their own business going on, calling the clients, bringing them in. Like everybody had a job there to do. We didn't need it. And Chris was like, why am I giving money to the Chris was always about the money. And at that time, we didn't need promotion. We needed actually the
club was the
opposite.
promoter, and
Right.
the
Correct.
owners of the clubs back then were the promoters.
Correct. It was all
Like
about
the personalities that owned the club.
Right.
like the Jerry Kellys of the world? And,
Yeah, Greg Breyer, Eric Morris from Bash. You know,
Correct.
so these people, everybody had their night, And we would go to their clubs on their night. Everybody had a night, and the weekends were pretty much neutral. So everybody went out on the Fridays, but Monday night belonged to us. Thursday night belonged to Group Jet. You know, every night was a different club that
Saturday
everybody would
night
show
and
up
Sundays,
to.
Sunday was gay,
enough
but
right.
Saturday night was ours for sure. And then when, obviously then Living Room opened up, and then that was a more European scene. But yeah, I mean, we didn't need promoters, to be perfectly honest.
Black Pussycat actually was a night that was started by a really cool group of guys, John Hood, what's the guy, Pinky, Savoya, Michael Savoya, and Ernie. So
Gilbert.
it was a short-lived, small little thing that went on. When I took over Mickey Rock's Club and I renovated and I opened it, I kept hearing about it, so I brought it back and I changed it. I added a hip hop room to it because all they did was play, you know, the funk, you know, soul and funk. I added a hip hop room, and then I used to go to a couple of parties in New York called Soul Kitchen, and they had the 40 ounces in the paper bags,
chicken.
you know, the fried chicken. So then I introduced that to Miami, where people never seen anything like it. So I just added to that party, brought it back, and made it better.
Correct.
And it just took off.
So in the two of your guys' mind, what was like Saturday, Sunday, Monday, who was like the original A-list Liquid team? Like, who, you know, every club needed a great team, whether it was promoters, doormen, bartenders, drag queens. I mean, in your mind, who, you know, obviously there was a couple different versions of Liquid.
Keith, for sure.
Yes.
Gilbert was with me from day one. And, you know,
Gilbert was the master.
is the icon of icon. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Now, did
so
you
much
bring
respect.
Gilbert came back?
No, he
to
was
New York
down here.
years. Okay.
He was down here and he was working, I forget where he was working, to be honest. And I approached him when I was opening a new club, and he took a shot with me because I was a nobody.
Right.
I was just going out a lot, punching people and making a name for myself, being a thug. So he took a shot with me. So Gilbert, Jack Bengio, my brother, obviously,
Well, Francesco.
Francesco. It was Ernie. It was like our little, you know,
Yeah.
ragtag group of people.
It was really a great, like we had Ho Chi doing remember we had to do our
Right.
own flyers.
Flyers, street
It was,
teams, right?
yeah.
faxing.
Faxing, okay, so I had an assistant, Henry.
Yep.
And I would be, let's say it was a Wednesday or whatever, and we had a party. I would be Wednesday, like I wanted to get sun, so I'd be at the beach with my megaphone, you know, with the antenna up, and Henry next to me with my filofax, and we'd call Tommy Patola's office, call, you know, Naomi Campbell's office, call this office, call that office, that. I would do it all day long, just inviting people, and then, of course, you have to call Page 6, because, see, with regards to press, I knew Miami was a no-brainer, right? Because I knew that they had never seen anything like that. That they were going to report on it anyway. So when I opened Liquid, my whole thing was I wanted to be in Page 6 every week. Like I wanted those people that read that column that have money to go to Miami for the weekend. Those are the people that I wanted to attract to Liquid.
Right.
And it was so much more important back then because there wasn't a flood of social media. There wasn't
Correct.
an overload of content and this and that. So when you got in those magazines, they sat on shelves. They sat in your house. And so the Inquirer and Page 6, all that
People
stuff
magazine,
lasted
Office
forever.
magazine lasted for correct. He's so right. It
You
was
would look forward every month
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Ocean Drive till they dropped it on your doorstep.
Your original
because you couldn't wait
Instagram.
to see.
So was that part of your guys' marketing strategy? Was like the controversy creates cash and just keep getting into those magazines and
It wasn't really controversy. It was more just
who was there.
who was there. We really did run
Respect.
discreet and,
Correct.
and protect them. Like, you know, there was no cameras in my club. That's why there's not a lot of photos and video content back then, because I would actually take cameras out of people's hands,
Yeah.
pull the film out of it,
That's
and we
true.
really did protect them. You know, back then Seth was hired by me. You see, I gave him his job to go around, and I would, get him to take pictures of people with permission, and that's how he started.
This is World Renaissance.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so on our opening night, the photographer for Fashion Week in New York, very important, and he had access to every celebrity. He wasn't paparazzi, he was like a set, but
And this was who?
a guy named Patrick McMullen, and he came to do the Delano opening. So I happened to know him from New York, and so I asked him to come over to the party afterwards to take pictures for the opening night. There's iconic pictures that are still relevant today of opening night at Liquid, and so those are the types.
You mean Madonna and you with bleach blonde hair?
Me with bleach blonde hair, and Kate and Naomi too as well, and these that was really important that we were able to secure him for our opening night. Like, it's unheard of. This guy like charges like $100,000,
Right.
So he did that as a favor.
Right. So you guys, I know that we've gone over that it was a different time. Do you think marketing wise, you can open a place today based on the stuff that you guys did back in the day? Or is it just such a completely different world because of social media? It's not as special anymore.
Completely different world. I mean, I honestly, I'm very proud of what myself, my brother, and Mio created at Rockwell. Because Rockwell was like a throwback to an old club, It was more about the I've always been good at creating my team as a family. My security felt like they were owners with us. It was, everybody got treated equal respect. The clientele, I had no ego. I'd go run and get a drink for someone, pick up a table, so we had that environment, and I think Rockwell was the closest thing to it. I'm not a big fan of spending $20 million to open places and stuff like that. I opened Rockwell with $1.1 million, made our money back in 4 months, and you know better than anybody. These people put $15-20 million in play, even if it hits it. You're not making your money back in 2 years, 3 years. So, by that time, you're not the shiny new toy, and, somebody else is going to make the money with your second generation place. So, I think Rockwell was the closest. Everybody made fun of me. Oh, he's stuck in the past. No one's going to go to Washington Avenue anymore. And we crushed it. We crushed it. I was very proud of it. And the only reason I'm not there anymore is because I just didn't want to be in nightlife anymore. I got too old, and I didn't want to be the old guy sitting in the club. But that club was still successful. It was still doing well. And I just didn't want to do it anymore after COVID.
A lot of you know me from my F&B Miami page, but what you might not know is that I also run Florida's largest restaurant real estate brokerage called F&B Hospitality. Every week I meet somebody that thought that they could just wing it on a restaurant lease. And every week on F&B Miami, you guys see how that turns out. And that is exactly why I started F&B Hospitality Brokerage. We treat our clients' money like it's our money. We don't say things just to say it or paint pretty little pictures. We go based on facts and numbers. If we don't like a deal, location, or permit status, we are absolutely not afraid to tell you. It's about setting you up to last. So you could focus on food and foodies while we negotiate the build out and the terms. So now with Liquid, obviously you already ran Risk, you moved on to Liquid. How was it adjusting to the business side of it? Like, obviously getting the people there was one thing, manning the door, making sure people don't steal, making sure bartenders don't steal.
There's no making sure. You can limit it. You
can
can't
just do
stop.
your
Right.
best.
And by the way, Chris has a good point. Like, him and I, like, if I had to do the door, I'd do the door. If he had to go and clean a table, he'd clean the table. Like, we didn't have any ego when it came to, like, we were there to work, and that was it. Like, sitting, yes, you sit and you talk to a VIP or whatever, your friends, but we were there to work when we were there. Like, we didn't have egos that we didn't, like, do from the minimal job to the biggest job. Like, I'm not the star of the show. It was all business.
What about things you couldn't control? Like, these days we have inspectors, we have raids, we have fire marshals, we have things that kind of keep businesses from opening in Miami Beach.
Correct.
Now, you guys opened this juggernaut of a club back
It
in
was
the day.
easier to open back then.
It was
easier to open because you got away with a lot more. I would start building the places and then, then go ask for forgiveness after the place is built. And they'd come in and you'd have to fix a few things and they'd smack your wrist, but you get open. But it was tougher to stay open because the the code enforcement. It always depends who's in charge at the time, the chief, you know, the captain, whoever. Some of them hate nightlife, some of them hate, you know, wrestling, whatever the case may be. But the 90s during Liquid, it was tough with code enforcement, fire department. We really were battling. You know, if you had too little people, nobody wanted to be in your club.
Right.
If you had enough, it was great. It was busy. People wanted to be shoulder to shoulder with people. So, you know, your occupancy, especially Liquid, we were on the second floor, so we only had like a 495 person occupancy. We would do 1,500 people throughout the night.
Right.
So it was a battle to try and figure out what time the fire department was going to come, making sure if code enforcement come, you know, the doors were clear pathways, there was nothing blocking them. So it was a challenge. I had a team, you know, that would ensure that we would do our best not to get tickets. I actually had security that would start off outside the fire department at 10 o'clock at night with walkie-talkies, because we didn't even have cell phones.
Right.
And they would follow the fire marshal on all the steps, and when he got closer to the club, I would hold the door, I would clear the crowd up a little bit, I would do as much as I could just so when he came, he saw we were doing our job.
This was courteous Chris? This was courteous Chris?
This
This was the nice boy Chris?
Yeah, this was the nice boy crib. No, I was a thug at the time. I was transitioning. I was a very nice guy, but I had a split side to me for sure.
Right.
Like I had no fuse.
But did they have grudges like against you? Like, you know, when people do well, sometimes
Yeah. I'll tell you a story that happened. I'm not proud of, but you know, I did it. One day I go to the club and my manager tells me, so the fire marshal's here. It was like 12:30 at night, and Liquid really didn't get going until 1 o'clock in the morning. So I was happy. He came early. He was going to walk in and out, leave and go on to his night and go bother everyone else. So I walk into the club and I go upstairs and I walk him through the club, and there was 50 to 75 people in the club. So it was nothing. So when we come downstairs, you know, he pulls out his pad and he starts writing something. I'm like, what are you doing? He says, I've got to give you a ticket. I said, for what? He said, you're overcrowded. I said, I'm not fucking overcrowded. This place is empty. What are you talking about, right? So he says, well, no, you know, I got to give you a ticket. And he starts pointing his pen at me. And I got so fucking mad, I smacked the pen out of his hand. And he goes, okay, they're making me do it. Like he got nervous and admitted to it. And so he ended up leaving, went across the street to the police station, wrote a report that I not assault, but I threatened him.
You got all physical.
And unfortunately, he was a young guy. He was a nice guy. 2 days later, he died. I mean, you know, it's not funny.
I swear
It wasn't funny back
only
then.
you.
It was sad, but unfortunately, he did die after I had a disagreement with him. So
Were you just like,
the rumor gets around the streets, no, Chris Paciello whacked the fireman. It's fucking stupid. But so I end up going to the funeral, and I'm sitting there with my manager, and let's just say I was not welcome. There was about 50 police officers, maybe 100 firemen, all lined up, just staring at me. And I just sat there, paid my respects, and left. And obviously, they figured out that he got electrocuted in the attic of his house working on something. He couldn't back up, and unfortunately, the guy died. Just had a kid. It was very sad.
and I'm sure
And
you still got shit for that.
we did,
Yeah.
you know, but you know, so it was a trying time. But he did admit that they were sending them out to mess with me.
Right.
You know, it would happen a lot with me too. You know, I get a phone call from a cop that I knew that used to work off duty for us sometime, and he says, "Oh, be tough on the door tonight. They're going to be out raiding clubs and checking IDs." What do? I tell my manager, be tight on the door, right? That night, Groove Jet gets closed down and Glam Slam, Prince's Club, and I was fine. But I didn't ask for this information. It was volunteered to me. So later on in time when I got in trouble, they charged me with bribery. They said I gave him a free dinner after he told me about people being in the club. I mean, this is the stupidity
That's so
that I
dumb.
dealt with.
Okay, but let me explain. So when we were opening up Joya, right? So
For those of you who don't know, Joya was
Was
a
it-
huge staple in Miami.
it was a restaurant, Italian restaurant.
Where
and-
Forte de Mami is now, and I gotta say, I give a lot of credit to the guy who has Forte de Mami. He's doing
Yeah,
a
they
great
did a
job.
great job.
Good
The,
crowd, great
the
people.
best people that have come in since we had it. But anyways, we were opening up Joya.
What year was this?
1996, 97.
97.
So we literally decided, Nicola came to us, I don't even remember when he came to, like in September, right? Or October, something crazy. We're opening a restaurant, you want it? Yes, okay. And we had to be finished in like 6 weeks because we like that Thanksgiving, December, that Thanksgiving to Christmas opening, like that's our sweet
Yeah,
spot.
I opened Risk November 15th. I opened Liquid November 16th. But we opened Joya January something. It was January.
It was January.
It was January.
Whatever. Anyways, so we had, and by the way, we were like, instead of like finishing it and then put an invitation out, we put an invitation out and then finish it, right? So we're like hammering to the last minute, and so we were trying to get a TCO for that, at least that night. We had everybody coming. So we had Donald Trump, we had Shakira, you had Jennifer Lopez, everybody was there. So everybody's like, they're not gonna give us. I said, they're gonna give it to us. So I called Mayor Kasdan at his office, and I said to him, listen, I need to talk to you. I want to invite you. There's a problem. Listen, we have all these celebrities coming to Joya, and they're all flying in, and I will give you a VIP table right next to them, but you need to give me this TCO to open it. And within 30 minutes, I had my TCO. Mayor Kasdan was in the middle of, he was a great mayor too. I loved him.
It was great.
He was very, very business friendly at the time, and you needed to be, because there was very little hospitality at the time, so he knew it was going to be good. But it's just that the city was giving us a hard time. They didn't want to give us the TCO. I don't even remember why. But anyways,
It was like personal shit or
No, listen, there's regulation. You have to get inspections.
Right.
You have to do things.
Correct.
Back then, you were able to push and try and get.
Correct.
I told you they were easy on opening.
Yep.
They were difficult on keeping you.
So in that respect, I love Mayor Kasdan was our mayor during our whole run there, and he was always great with us. But yeah, listen, a free dinner at Joya next to Donald Trump, he was all in. So there you go.
So at this point in the game, were you guys still putting in your own money into new projects, or at this point did you already have investors and that wanted?
My own money.
Own money.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the New York thing where everybody coughs up $25,000 so they could say.
No.
No, it was only me and him.
I had.
Except for Joya.
Risk. Well, I took on partner only strategically for Joya because it wasn't my show, it wasn't her show at the time. It was really Nicola Ciervo. He came to me
Correct.
after Bar None closed down because Living Room took all their business. And he's like, I want to do a restaurant. And he brought me to the Joya space, which was the Century Hotel at the time. And he said, I want to do a restaurant here. But to me, it was too small. So I convinced the landlord to give us 2 hotel rooms in the back and open it up and make it bigger. And so I put up the money. And then Roberto Khan from Mint and, Nicola asked if he could bring him in on. So we gave him a little piece. So that was the only one that we had outside money besides us.
But you guys were obviously like the hot shit in Miami Beach during the heyday Liquid times. Like, what was some of the craziest shit that you guys have seen?
Well, I mean, we did club wars were a big thing back then.
I'm a big student of the club
Huge
wars.
club wars. And I don't even know if that exists anymore, but remember, we had Washington Avenue, so any club that would pop up, Chris would have a panic attack. And I knew he would have a panic attack, so I kind of like would wind him up because I too would get kind of panicked about it. But there was a club that was opening across the street where Shadow Lounge is. I forgot the name of it. The guy
Zep Tepe.
And the guy brought in.
He was from London.
Right,
And
a British dude.
He made it look like a castle inside. He
Correct.
spent a lot of money back
spent
then.
like $1 million.
Like 2 something. He ended up killing
That's
himself.
$2 million back then. That's not the same
In
$2
a
million
little
today.
club. He ended up killing himself. It didn't do well.
He
and
did?
He went broke.
I
He
didn't
shot
know that.
How long did that last? The first
20 minutes, but by the way, so Chris says to me, oh my God, I know, I got to figure it out. So he had Jack Bengio, who was our gay promoter, rent an apartment above Zep Tepe, whatever the hell it's called. And his only job was to call the fire marshal, the city, and the police to complain about noise and overcrowding. That was his job every week.
Yeah, that still happens.
So I don't know if that still happens, but
I'm
I
sure
thought
it still happens.
freaking genius.
Yep.
I thought we would do whatever it took.
Right.
Listen, whatever it took.
So now I guess we all know, again, I've been a student of the game. I've been a fan of you guys for a while. When I was a nightclub promoter in Boston, in the heyday,
Did you work with Lions Group?
I
Andy
worked for
Massey?
Avalon. I worked for, and I mean, Andy Massey went to, with Chris to, Sean Christie to,
All
Vegas.
great guys. Sean's the best. Andy Massey the best.
they were all great, but we would obviously all copy from you guys. Like, we saw that you guys were just had it. Like, every magazine you open, everything you see.
That's one thing we get a lot of props from the old school, from the guys, the Mark Birnbaum.
Right.
The guys who are the guys now.
Yep.
Always said, I was in school, going to college, used to read about you guys, and you made me get into the business. So it's nice that it's a little humbling they show us that type of.
Well,
No one's ever started.
Jason was right. I mean, no one's a Florida guy, but like that's what I mean. You guys were such a dynamic duo that it was the two of you guys. Then it was Jason and Noah. Then all of a sudden, like promoter names really started to mean something.
Yes.
I know that you guys weren't promoters.
This was after our
I hate it when
First
somebody
one.
called me a promoter. I would like,
when they say I'm
a promoter,
I
it
never
drives me
worked in
crazy.
business. I never bartended. I
Correct.
just went to be an owner.
Correct.
I figured it out as I went.
But look how incredible it is that you guys went from 0 to 60 and that, like just like that, from people maybe not knowing who you are in the nightclub business,
Correct.
to just owning the whole business. Again, we copied you guys. We booked Victor Calderon in Boston because he was at
It's funny, Vic used to have a
and
pizzeria.
I told you that. Yeah,
And
he
he
used
wasn't
to have a
even-
pizzeria.
wait, hold on, you got to break down the story.
Go ahead, go.
I call him Pizza Boy all the time. I love him, and we mess with each other all the time.
One of the greatest.
And he's an awesome person, and what
He
he's
really
done
is.
is incredible, and he continues to do. So I'm allowed to make fun of him because we got that history. But Victor, David Waxman, one of the truest gentlemen, great DJ, but he never was able to take himself to a level. Now he's ahead of him. He's done great for himself, but he never was able to really explode as a DJ, even though he was a great DJ.
He's also a Brooklyn guy, right?
Yeah, he's a Brooklyn guy.
We
So
found
he
that out.
brought Victor down, and was it him who brought Victor down or Rob, Lord Michael? I forget who brought him down.
Waxman
Victor was I think it was
Waxman did.
He used to have a pizzeria, and he said, "You got to hear my boy. You got to hear my boy." And he started playing for us on the Saturday nights
Correct.
and crushing it for us.
The gay crowd loved him, right?
Not at first. Well, he wasn't exposed to it, only the mix that
Right.
we had in the club. But he was doing so good on Saturdays that we started introducing him on the Sunday.
Right.
And what really launched Victor in the club scene, Ingrid, by far as a producer, helped launch him with Madonna album.
Well, so that was
Ray of Light, the biggest album.
Yeah,
of
but
Did
the-
Frozen
before
come
that-
first? Did Frozen come first, or did Ray of Light come first?
Frozen came and then Ray of Light.
So now you made that relationship between him and Madonna.
Correct. And
after
then,
his success at Liquid.
correct.
Right.
After seeing him, what he's done, and what happened one weekend, it was a white party.
Right.
And white party was massive for the
Huge.
gay crowd back then.
So fun.
And
What kind of turnout do you think you got?
Money night. Oh my
couldn't
God.
fit the people in the fucking
Yeah.
car. We used to, I'll tell you, so we would lock the front door, shut all the lights down.
Right.
Because we had to close at 5. So I would have security on the corners, walkie-talkie, say, okay, let 3 people out. When people wanted to leave, we would have to limit them to go out the back alleyway and sneak them out because we couldn't close the club at 5 o'clock in the morning. We had to leave it going until 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon when Victor or Junior would play. They would do marathons.
Right.
The DJs nowadays, they come in with their USB, whatever, they plug it in, they put their clock there at 2:30, they're checking off. Back then, these guys would live to bring
Yeah.
these people
They didn't
through
want to
these
come
journeys.
off.
They didn't want to stop.
They didn't want to get off.
Yeah. So Victor, one night, it was white party. Junior did a party at Warsaw, and we hired Victor for Liquid.
Correct. There was a war.
And by far, Junior was the biggest DJ in the world,
100%.
especially in New York. He had Twilo at the time.
Palladium Saturdays.
He was the God,
Right.
And Liquid was so strong at the time that all the people that came down wanted to go to Liquid. And Victor spun for him, and Victor killed it.
Correct.
There was crickets in Warsaw, and Victor and Liquid was slammed. And when Victor went back to New York, they gave him the Roxy residency, and he took over New York.
Roxy, what, Friday nights that time, I think?
That is such a good memory.
No,
Wow.
it's true.
I know,
And Victor
yes, you're so right.
destroyed. That was it. Junior,
that was it.
Unfortunately, Junior's career from
When
point
that
forward
went on, went
down.
down, and then
And Junior to me is still one of my favorite
Yeah.
DJs in the world.
I have every
And
CD,
Emily,
still have every CD.
God,
Right.
you know, so I have all respect in the world for them. But
Ranking
Victor
numbers.
had an opportunity. He was like Eminem, and he took it. and
Right.
Yes.
And he made it.
he was a very hard worker. Like, and so Chris said to me, listen, you gotta. So Madonna was coming out with a Ray of Light album. I gave the album, like before anybody heard it, Chris had a copy, I had a copy. And it was blown away. It was like electronic music, but commercial, right? So it was insane. So Madonna says to me, listen, I'm looking for, she wanted fresh, like something, like, don't you have like a DJ or that, I need a remix. I want a remix for the clubs. So Chris said to me, you need to get, Victor can do it. Victor can do it. So Chris brought Victor. Didn't you come with Victor to China Grill?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
China Grill or China Club?
China Grill.
So the
So
one
so I was having dinner at China Grill.
Yep.
With M. And I think it was for our anniversary party. Yes, is when she hosted the
2-year
anniversary party.
anniversary.
Yes. So before that we had, and so I said, okay, I got a DJ coming. It was very, very simple. Chris brings Victor. They say hi. She goes, "You're gonna remix my album. You're gonna remix my song." She goes. He said yes. She goes, "Okay, done." And then he goes. She said, "I'll send you the master, whatever." And that was it. So he remixed it. She loved it. Then rehires him for Ray of Light, and then from then
Sting,
on,
you got him Sting after that.
I got Sting, Mark Anthony, everybody was using Victor to, I was managing just all the remixes he was doing, and then that's when you were hearing remixes
Right.
on the radio, right?
Like Hot
Which was
97 and KTU and.
Correct, that's how, so when the guys would do remixes, so you had the club version and
Yeah.
you had a radio mix. So
You guys also had Hex Hector, I think, right? Also.
oh, we had
Yeah,
all
plenty
of
of
them.
times. Hex, I used to listen to him in USA.
Little Louis Vega.
Louis Vega, that's
They
right.
Who was
fun.
also
But
in-
when we used to do the music conference back then,
Correct.
we had masters at work, and we had the different
Sean
nights,
Terry.
you know,
Chicago guys, Frank
Tony
Knuckles, that's
Humphries,
right.
you know, all those guys. And,
Wow.
and
Peter
back then,
Wallhofer.
Club 69, right? That's Club 69.
So we'd have the British guys, we would have, because Ministry of
And-
Sound was
and
huge
you-
back then.
Right, and so I think you guys were the first ones to bring the Ministry of Sound guys
Correct.
from London and Peter Wallhofer and.
and Peter
Goldie and
But we had a guy that from London, David Benioff.
oh
remember
yeah,
his name.
I
David,
remember that name too.
he was used to work at Ministry, so he started bringing
Correct.
that sound. So one night we would have that crew, you know, we'd have the New York house, Chicago house, but it was, I mean, back then, if you had a badge, you got in for free.
Right.
The DJs played for free.
Right.
They just wanted a hotel room and airfare.
Yeah.
And it was all about music,
Yeah,
you know,
and
so-
they had to carry their own like.
records.
Stack.
And,
I
yeah.
think
Oh,
we-
talk about, you know what happened to one, remember you had to carry your own, so we would fly
Yeah.
in from New York
And
and
their friends that would have to like, get an extra ticket and an extra hotel room so,
So-
they could carry the records.
tell them about the time that
We'd have to pay for their.
Right.
the record didn't come, when who was it that the records didn't come? Was it Victor, or was it that remember that and you had to go borrow music from somebody else? Who was it? Remember? Yes, you were telling
Was
that
it Junior?
story. No, I think Victor's
Junior's
records.
not lending Victor
No.
records.
No, Victor's records didn't make it down here
I don't
on the
remember
plane,
that. I don't
and then we had to go and find like 5
You want to hear a
records.
crazy story? I'll tell you a funny
Go
story.
ahead.
Funny now. So, first New Year's Eve at Liquid, right? Fucking.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how fucked up was Ingrid?
No, I never.
It was Hex spinning.
I never did drugs or
Right?
alcohol in my club.
Really?
I was sober.
It was Hex
before.
Hector
Okay.
opened up
Okay.
for a DJ back then. He was huge named Kyoki.
DJ Kyoki, Wednesday Disco 2000.
That's it. That's
Okay.
the one.
What?
That's
Right?
it.
So we're in the club's slammed. I'm sitting with Ronnie Cycli, and I remember just having a good time. It was finally the first New Year's. We only opened 2 months.
Yep.
We're hanging out, and I'm finally enjoying the club. You know, I'm sitting there, everything's good. All of a sudden, Hector gets off, goes back to the Delano,
Right.
and Kyoki gets on.
Well, Kyoki was getting really fucked up around that time.
Oh yeah, wait.
All I hear is, strike a pose, there's nothing to it. Strike a pose, there's nothing to it. Strike a pose. I'm like, what the fuck's this guy doing, right? So I see people like a beeline walking out the door. So I go over to the DJ booth. I go in there. I say, yo, my man, you know, you got to change this record.
Right.
He said, I'm the best DJ in the world. I said, I'm sure you are, but you need to change this record because people are leaving. No one tells me how to play. I said, if you don't change the record in 3 seconds, I said, I'm gonna knock you the fuck out. I didn't really mean to knock him out, but I did. I told him 1, 2, 3. I grabbed him by his head and just threw him, and he hit the floor and he's laid out. So I'm like, well, fuck. So I grabbed the record,
This is on
I
New Year's.
stepped over him.
This was New Year's.
New Year's Eve, I don't know how to DJ. I put a new record on and I stopped playing the fucking
No,
record. Yeah,
yes,
this is a true
I
story.
know that. I know that. I just forgot the
and
details.
then I made Jack or someone run to the Delano and bring Hector back.
Oh yeah, that's how it
And I'm fucking playing music on
I
the
remember
night. So the next night, you know, the next day, I know they're gonna shoot. He was on heroin. He was all fucked up.
Right.
Yeah.
His manager wrote me a big apology letter and said it was their fault. They apologized. I mean, I really didn't mean from the. I just threw him. He's so fragile. He just got.
Yeah, he
right,
was
laid
this
out.
skinny.
I was-
Right.
He had a big.
So that was the first New Year's at Liquid.
That's
It's one of
funny.
the funny stories, I guess.
That's a good story.
Now, I love stories like that. What do you have anything? Now, again, we all know Chris was my spirit animal at the time, big time stud.
Yes. He
I know
was.
that he's very modest, so maybe I can get out of you. The
His
crazy-
girlfriends?
Oh, we got to hear about the girlfriends.
Oh my god. Okay, so when I
Because
met,
he can't date like
Cut,
me.
cut,
He had to
cut.
like date like the best of the best.
so when we opened Liquid, he had called me. I was in Los Angeles and I met the most beautiful girl, and I was like, yeah, you always
Who?
do. Yeah.
Sophia? I met her before Liquid.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
You called
okay.
me before
What was it?
Liquid opened.
This was before Liquid Open, like 2
Yes.
weeks before Liquid Open.
Correct. And he said, I met the most beautiful girl, and so when Liquid opened, Sophia was there, and I was like, oh my God, this girl is not only beautiful, she's a knockout.
For anybody that doesn't know what Sophia, he's talking about Sophia Vergara.
Yeah, Sophia was so cute, like the best, like so cute, very nice, didn't know a lick of English.
Wasn't
at
she
the
doing
time.
like the local Spanish shows at the time?
was
or that was
doing-
after?
yeah.
Out the Seria.
Great
It was a travel
mom,
show.
great mom. She had a young kid. Chris and her, like they were together. Unfortunately, Chris was very immature and young at the time, and just opened up a nightclub. Like, who
Yeah,
dates
it was
a guy
pretty
that?
tough to be a good guy.
Yeah.
Did you
that-
think she was the one at the time?
No, I mean, listen, I was obsessed in love with her,
Right.
but I was just a dog.
He was a
I
dog.
was a dog. I couldn't
So
help
Jennifer Lopez came, so I get a phone call from out of nowhere that Jennifer wants to talk to me. I wasn't even in Miami when he
Right.
met J.Lo, when he met Jennifer. I was somewhere else, and he called. I think he goes, I met Jennifer Lopez last night, whatever. And then I get a phone call from her manager, Benny, saying that Jennifer like is madly in love with Chris and blah blah blah, and wants to hang out with him, and so.
Like
That was Jennifer,
yeah, but-
Daisy Fuentes.
Hold on, but did you know Daisy Fuentes MTV? But like, did you know Jennifer Lopez at the time, or it was
she
just
had
like,
it. I
just-
know she just came
she
by
had-
the club and somebody said, "Oh, this is Jennifer," and you know,
Yeah.
we were talking.
And then she followed it up. She was like totally into Chris. She was shooting a movie, I think, down here. And then she also Daisy Fuentes, same
MTV? Yeah,
thing.
she was the knockout.
She was a knockout. And then Nikki Taylor, which was also like a girlfriend of Chris's. Who
I heard Nikki Taylor. I mean, I read about it. Nikki Taylor was obsessed with Chris.
He was. And so
I was
Chris,
obsessed with her too.
yeah, they really.
And I'll tell you a funny story about her. When I was living in Staten Island, I had a heavy bag in my garage, and I used to have her poster on my wall. So this was like my crush.
Right.
And one of the reasons I left Staten Island, besides
The obvious.
knowing I'd be dead or in jail because I was into a lot of bad shit, I started going to Miami. I had a bad breakup, my first one with an ex-girlfriend. I used to call her my little Nikki Taylor.
Oh, wow.
So cut to the chase, a year later after Liquid's open, I'm coming back from Vegas, and I'm landing, and it was Halloween, and somebody from the club's like, "Oh, Nikki Taylor's at the club." I was like, "What?" I ran right there from.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
I
from
always
the,
wondered how you met her.
From the airport. I ran to the club, and she was so cool. And we ended up hosting the costume.
Ball.
Masquerade, whatever it was.
The costume contest.
Yeah, the costume contest. And we switched numbers. I drove her home that night, and then at that time I was going out with Sophia, and I started dating Nikki, and I was in
Deep
love.
shit.
I was the biggest supermodel and one of the hottest girls in the world, Latin bombshell. At the same time, and I was torn. Like, what do you do? So
It's true, and I was in the middle, and then they end up hating me because I knew what was going on the whole time. So it was kind of difficult. But Nikki was a sweetheart. Her ex-husband got in a fight with Chris at some club. What was the name of that club?
bar none.
Hold on a
Bar
second.
none.
Hold on a second. He wasn't stupid enough to stop you, was he?
Oh my God, he
He
was.
wasn't alone.
Oh, he rolled
He was
deep.
with like 6 guys.
Got it.
And they're all football players.
Yeah.
So it was a riot. It wrecked the whole entire bar. One closed it down. It was in page 6.
Yeah.
I walked out fine. So
Yeah, that was
Was that one of the craziest nights in Liquid history?
that was
in Bar None.
Oh, that was the bar.
No, I always
You wouldn't
knew
do that in Liquid.
I always knew when
Yeah,
Chris
I
was
did it
in.
in Liquid a few times.
I always knew when Chris got in trouble because let's say I wasn't at the club, I get a call like at 9 in the morning. What are you doing? He goes, you're not okay. So and he's very apologetic. He goes, you're not gonna believe what happened last night. This asshole, blah blah blah, and that means like he got in a fight.
You knocked somebody out.
He broke his tooth. He fell off the roof. Like there was always something. It just I don't know. It was.
I was 20.
He was in his
20.
20s. But you know what? I'll tell you what. Neither of us, we never drank or did drugs. He would drink like after 3 o'clock. Never drank, never did drugs. We ran the club like it was a machine.
Right.
Like we always knew
Yeah,
what was
Ingrid
going
got
on.
sober the weeks before Liquid
Yeah, I got sober
So-
a month
yeah.
before Liquid opened. I never
And stayed sober. It
stayed
was-
sober, zero.
So in one of the most fucked up clubs
Correct.
in the world, that's when you decided to get sober?
Yeah, I had to. Either that or I promise you there would be no Liquid. I couldn't be able to do my job. I mean,
Right.
Chris would have had to pull it off by himself.
Because again, when I was a promoter, one of my bucket list things was one day I'm gonna do a ton of drugs with you. That's just because.
You would have had to hit me up in the 80s.
Oh my God, no,
That
I
was the
too young
80s
for that.
Early
I was too young for
90s
that.
too.
Early 90s. A little early 90s, mostly 80s, but early 90s. I got sober. I went to rehab 3 months before I opened Liquid. And then when I went to go invest in Liquid, my father, rightfully so,
Yeah.
God bless him, said to me, I said, Dad, are you gonna, become an owner? He goes, not with my money, you're not.
Right.
He goes, are you crazy? You just got sober. You're gonna go open up a club? That's crazy. And I said, I'm gonna do it anyway. So, anyways, that's
How old were you at this point?
25. How old were you?
I was 24.
Oh no, so I was 20.
No, I opened Risk at 23. I had it to like 24. I was about 25.
So I was probably 29.
Right,
I was in my 20s.
right. And
So yeah, he was like, no, that's never gonna happen. So I did it anyways.
so so for example, I know Madonna, hung out with you a lot. Did you guys ever get starstruck by anybody? I look back at some of the pictures, and for example, I saw a picture with Tupac.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, when they're here, I gotta ask.
I did a couple in the beginning, you're like, whoa, what the fuck? And then you start
Yeah.
getting jaded.
Yeah.
Your ego gets bigger and you think who you are. But Mike Tyson, when he first walked in the club in his heyday,
This is Dynamite Kid.
That
This is
was
during the
his
Dynamite
thing.
Kid.
and then we became friends. Mike Tyson for sure. Nikki Taylor,
Obviously.
Yeah.
because I had a crush on her. But
I had
Yeah,
already
no,
been
they was,
around. I had already been around
Everybody.
she was
for
exposed
a long
already.
time. Yeah,
We-
and I
we-
exposed, and then Chris would come with me. So it was important for me to get Chris out of Miami,
Yep.
and so he would come. I'd take him to the Grammys, the MTV Awards. We'd go to the Oscars, the
Yeah.
Vanity Fair party. I started bringing him around so I wasn't the only one doing it, and it was a collab.
Right. Was Tupac actually dating Madonna?
Yes. So Tupac is when I was living in LA.
Right.
She had said to me, Tupac was even Tupac yet. He was Like I think he had a record out maybe, and he was doing Poetic Justice.
Right, Janet.
Janet Jackson. And he had rented the house next, literally like 3 houses from me. So he would pick me up, we'd go to the movies, you know, he'd have his scarf and the low rider, smoking a lot of weed, gin and juice all the time.
Nice guy.
Great guy, the nicest guy ever.
Him and Madonna, is that weird? Wasn't that a weird?
No, not at all. It was actually not weird at all. It was actually one of the most normal guys she had dated.
Really?
Yeah, I like Tupac a lot. He was so
The
smart.
guy is dating a broad spectrum.
Yeah, and let me tell you something. He went into the studio. He listened. He did a record with her, and he just did a verse. And so he listened to the beat. I'll never forget this. We were in Midtown Manhattan.
Yep.
We're listening to the beat. He listens to the beat. Let me listen to the beat. He said, "Give me a minute." He wrote the verse in under 10 minutes. He freestyled it. We rapped it, recorded it, and that was it. He was out the door. The guy was
which
a
song?
genius.
Which song?
It was for Bedtime Story.
Right.
It's for the one that Michelle Indigacello was the one that they ended up featuring in the album. But
Right.
she owns the master to the one that Tupac, and nobody's ever heard it.
Wow.
Yeah,
Those never released?
never.
Wow.
She owns that master. Like she
Pretty
has
cool
it.
on the release.
She has that tied up somewhere in a safe.
That's cool.
True or false? Madonna had a thing for Chris.
True. She loved Chris.
So, anything happen?
Nothing to say.
No comment.
Yeah, understood. Okay, good enough for me.
Keep going.
So, obviously, every nightclub, the biggest problem is the lifespan of a club. Why I always mention Liquid, because Liquid had one of the strongest runs, I think, in any club in Miami Beach history. Now, what was life like after Liquid?
Well, at that time we had Barroom. And Barroom is not as known as much. It didn't have, but Barroom was an amazing fucking.
Right.
It was actually better than Liquid. You know, the nicer clientele. It was just a different club.
It was a European house.
Yeah.
It's when European house started becoming really big. And so he went to Ibiza, became fascinated by Ibiza, went to this club called
That was a
Pacha.
big learning experience.
Yeah, he went to Pacha and then decided that he was going to open up Pacha in South Beach, which was genius, actually. Not Pacha, but he called it Barroom, but that whole feel of European house.
Did Mark Leventhal do that with you guys, or he was in Liquid?
No,
No, he was
Liquid.
at Liquid.
Mark used to, God rest his soul, he was a DJ. He was the main DJ at Fat Black Pussycat
Right.
on Mondays. He was as much as I love him, but he was a tough personality to get along with. Because
Right.
He always thought the party was about him, and I would have to go in the booth, and if he was in a bad mood, he'd play all this chill, relaxing music and bore people. So I'd have to try and play. It was a work in progress with him, but he overall he was a hard worker and good guy. It's a shame what happened, but he was one of the originals, of course.
Yeah.
But he was very temperamental as well.
And DJ Khaled also started in our club.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It started,
but in the hip hop.
He was a
Right.
he was a DJ promoter.
Who'd you have? You had Epps?
DJ Epps. We gave
Sugar,
him his
yeah.
break. He said some story, and he always talks very highly. I love him like a little brother. He said that we grabbed him because he had some party called Sugar Shack. I never went to it. I didn't know about it. He just would come to the club, and I gave him a break. He was a young guy. Mauricio.
Yeah,
Mauricio was like 17, 18 years old. And we would let him open up and stuff like that. So Liquid really did launch a lot of careers. A lot.
Yep.
A lot.
That's true.
Do a lot of people still thank you guys for?
Yeah.
All the time.
All the time.
I'm not the guy that lives in the past, so I don't comment or get involved with all this, history stuff and all that. But when sometimes, you'll get comments like, I learned so much from you. I built my business because of you. I did, there's a lot of people that, it was the best times of their life. I get it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, we did like a little clip talking about Liquid, and we just naturally thought that it was just a great moment in time to explain what, if somebody's like, what was Miami Beach party scene like? Oh, Liquid. Everything was Liquid.
Yeah.
So, and once we did that clip, we had hundreds of comments of, oh my God, that was the best time of my life. First time I did this was there. First time I did that was there.
Correct.
First time, you know, we.
It's one of those moments that you're living and you don't realize how special it was till it's over.
Right.
And when you look back now, it really was a period in time that can never be recaptured.
Correct.
I mean, you know, it could have been anyone else, who knows, but it was a time period that, you know, AIDS just finished, right, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
AIDS was,
Yeah, the end of HIV.
the
Yeah.
end of HIV, you know, clubs were cool, people were going out, it was just it was a good time.
Right.
Yeah.
And Miami was just on the cusp of about to be exploding, and we.
The genie's already out of the bottle,
Right.
you know what I mean? So there's no way to put it back in, unfortunately. I really, the club scene now, I don't relate to it at all, like.
Tell me why, because I mean, I'm sure social media has a big part.
Well, first of all, social media kind of ruined it because the greatness of nightclubs is the mystery of it, right? So like what happens behind the velvet.
The anticipation of
Correct.
getting to the next spot. You know, who's in there, what's going on.
Yeah,
in there.
yeah.
You know, the
So
build
smart.
up, you know, walking up the stairs of Liquid, hearing that music pumping, and all of a sudden you walk in, you're like, wow, look who's here. Now you know everything.
Right.
You know, that's one of the things. The other thing is nightlife used to be about, like I said, a melting pot. It was a variety of everything. You had the gay, straight, white, black, everything. So the room was organically created. You know, we would make half our money at the bar, half our money at the VIP room.
Right.
Now, some of these clubs don't even have bars.
Oh, they
It's
don't even
all
have dance
tables.
floors.
Yeah.
And you know, first of all, social media, everyone's on their phone looking, and you know, they're
Yeah.
not even present in the moment.
Correct.
That's one thing. The other big thing is the promoters. You know, if you have 20 tables, 18 of them are paid to be there, so they're just trying to get their money. They're not even, you know, the girls are sitting, they stay in their table, and you're really kissing the ass of some corny dude that's
Right.
looking for attention because he can spend a lot of money. Back in the days, the big money people back then were the Wall Street guys, right?
Right.
Shady Wall Street guy. They would come with 10 guys. Yo, I'll give you 10 grand for a table. And I'd look at 10 guys and say, no way.
No way.
I was making enough money that I didn't care. It wasn't all about money. And I really wanted to curate the room the right way. So I would turn them away and rather put 5 girls and 2 guys and give them one bottle just to have a nice room.
I'd
So
rather
it's
have
so
people
much about money now.
outside than inside if the room didn't look right.
Right.
That's like 100. If I had to sit in the door and go you, and believe me, I came to that a lot. That's the way it goes. I don't.
That and the main thing was when they started paying celebrities to come to.
Oh yeah,
It ruined that.
that ruined it.
Because
Yeah, that's
they went to unwind, have fun, and let loose, and then when they start getting paid all this money, they're like, what the fuck am I gonna go there for, you know?
Yeah.
And the DJs getting paid all this money, you know, it took the fun out of it. You know, they didn't do it for the love of it anymore.
Did you guys do like the set minimums at the time on the
Yeah,
on the
but they
table?
were still, they were $500, $300, one bottle. We would save the bottles, put their name on it with a date. They come back in, they could start with their bottle. We would do it. Listen, I was 24, you know, when Liquid opened pretty much, and I was making, you know, a ton of money. I didn't need more. It was more about the party and the club.
always about the party. Always
A
about
couple
the
of
music.
times, I never did drugs. I never tried to bump a cocaine in my life. Once in a while, I took a piece of an ecstasy back
Right.
then at the end of the night.
When it was good.
Have
When it was
fun.
good, by the
I
way.
never seen anyone in rehab. I
Right.
never seen anyone selling their clothes, and you know,
Right.
It's like, to me, it was like a little piece, a beer at the end of the night, you know, once in a while, and I enjoyed myself very rarely.
Right.
I'll tell you who I do respect in the scene right now, and it's Go ahead. We both said the guys from Space. the
Yeah,
guys that
I
played
was
Factory
going to ask
Town.
you guys, who do you guys think are still doing it right? Whether it's
I think
music
the only
or
guys, I'm not
operations.
saying doing it right, like running a good club or making money, you know, Liv makes more money than Liquid ever made. You know, these numbers are astronomical now that the clubs are making. You know, for the European crowd, I think the Milos crew does very well. You know, they curate a nice European crowd. It might not be for everybody.
I think Casa Tua for that crowd.
Casa Tua,
They're so good at what they do, and they've been around forever.
Right.
But you know why they never sell out. They just don't.
Right.
but for the music, authentic night clubbing, curating a great party, and you know, is the Link Rebel guys, David Sinatra. You know, Factory Town is you know, that's something when you're young, when you walk into this thing and it's, you know, you see the music and the visuals and all this stuff, and getting all the way in the middle of Hialeah, and it's something special. Those type of things make you remember. That's real nightclub, like space.
What about like the Mila guys, the Raymond Joneses? Of
Yeah, the Mila guys and stuff. Like I said, the European crowd, they own it. I don't want to bad talk anybody else.
Right.
Those guys, it's not for me.
Right.
I don't like the cheesy nightlife. I don't like the fucking
Sparklers in the well, who
Not
invented
for
that?
me.
Right.
In the Grey Goose bottles. Like, I'm so embarrassed when they do that.
You guys never did that, right? Obviously.
Fuck no.
Now, listen, I'm not talking about me. To be a club owner back in the day, it was cool.
Yeah,
It had a cool
totally.
factor to it. Nowadays it don't.
Right.
It really doesn't.
Yeah, no, you would never see it. I could never be in the club business now. It just isn't my aesthetic. Let's just put it that way. So
Listen, mind you, we're much older.
Right.
So these young kids that are going
They
to
don't
these
know any
clubs now,
better.
they don't know any better. Some of them still have fun.
Right.
Liv does a great job. Dave does a great job.
yeah, he does.
But, for what I remember in my era, and especially the 90s, it was a different type of club.
So, question: when you guys were super hot and on fire, a lot, we started the conversation. A lot of the Boston guys, like Andy Massey, Sean Christie, they went for Vegas.
Yeah.
When you guys were on fire, were people asking you guys to come to Vegas?
Yeah,
I'll tell you a funny story.
Well, funny
Hey,
story.
Andrew Sasson, you know Andrew
course,
Sasson.
absolutely.
Andrew
Oh my God,
Sasson
tell the
is one of my
story.
best friends,
Right.
dear friend of the godfather to his daughter. I mean, one of my dear friends. He, when I came to Miami, he was a doorman, and he used to let me in these clubs, and he was always hungry. And then I became who I was and ran all the clubs, and me and Andrew used to come pitch me all the time. So we went to Vegas, and we started checking out, to do a club out there. And it's a long story, but pitched Steve Wynn, and the package he pitched him with was Liquid Las Vegas, my bio, Ingrid's bio, and his bio.
Right.
So we got a lot of traction. They wanted to do it. We started getting further along, and I got arrested. So he ended up moving forward and bringing Ingrid, and then Ingrid didn't want to sleep with Steve, so she
Steve Wynn. In order to make this deal, I had to fuck Steve Wynn. That's never gonna happen. Okay? Steve Wynn was calling me, flying me, and I had all these men.
I didn't say any of that, but
I said
What had
it.
happened?
I said it. Andrew and Jason Bin and Guy O'Steary, they all wanted me to what's the big deal? What's the big deal? No, that's never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen.
So at that point, Andrew took the step. He moved forward. He continued with it, and he pretty much created Nightlife in Vegas. He did to Vegas what we did to Miami, for sure.
Then what? The light group?
The light.
Yeah.
And even more importantly, and I always give Andrew teacher classes there. All these guys go and speak and talk to these classes and stuff. Half of them don't know what they're saying. Andrew could teach at a fucking high level. He created a mom and pop business and created he created booklets and what's the word I'm looking for?
Flyers?
He created he created the framework
Right.
for real nightlife, taking it from mom and pop to
Oh yeah, it's a model business, right? Streamlined.
He created the host.
Yep.
He created different
He
programs.
scaled it.
He turned it from mom and pop to a big business, and he changed nightlife in Vegas by far. There's no doubt. And from him, Noah, Sean, Andy Massey, they all.
They're fantastic.
When I went in, I was the guy. When I came out, all the guys that worked for me, under me, all became, the next guys who run Nightlife, and most of them still do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Andy Massey was a GM at Karma.
Was he?
Yeah, I met my wife in Boston, so.
Oh, that's awesome.
But
Andy Massey's one of my favorite people on earth.
he listened.
Just
Talk
a
about a
great
guy
guy.
who he didn't want to work for the Wines Brothers anymore, and he went
He
there
went
and
and
he crushed it.
And he handled a lot of years working with Andrew. That's pretty tough.
Oh
And
my God.
It's true, but we love it, Andrew.
Of course.
But
No,
Andy, he's the best.
Also, I think he wasn't a huge fan. So they brought in Steve Edelman. I remember if you remember.
Steve Edelman.
So they brought in Steve Edelman, and Andy was not happy with that. That's when he took off.
John Lyons was his guy. He liked John a lot.
Yeah, and he was there for a lot of years.
Yeah.
He was there for
Sean, very smart in the industry.
Yeah, he was great. I mean, Sean was a great GM in Boston.
Yeah.
So let's talk about life after Liquid. Obviously, you guys created this juggernaut. You took a little vacation. You came back. You
I had a
reinvented
baby.
yourself. You became a mom.
Correct.
Let's start with you. How did what did you do? What were the next steps of your life?
So after I took 2 years off first, just raised my, I had a baby and
Right.
raised my baby, and then little by little, I never went into only. I couldn't imagine myself with another partner, even though I tried, but there was no chemistry.
Right.
There has to be chemistry in partnership. Like he does his job, I do mine. We don't even have to look at what we're doing. We know we're doing our job, right? So I was approached by Eric and at Opium Group, yeah. And I did Privé, the first 2 years of Privé with Michael Capone.
Yep.
That's when I first met David Grubb. And I did that for 2 years, I guess. And it was just Friday and Saturday night. My heart really wasn't in it, to be perfectly honest. It
Yep.
was hard for me to promote something that didn't have the name Liquid or Joy or Move into it, but it is what it is. And then I decided to go, and then hotels became big. Like people were doing nights at the Delano, people were doing nights at the Sagamore, people were doing nights at the Shore. So I did a party at both the Sagamore and at the Rally that were hugely successful on Sunday for a few years. And then I left. Then I went to live.
Right.
And
You worked at Lyft for a little bit.
I did for first year, and then it was my dad got sick.
Yep.
I was there for a year. I think I did as much as I could possibly do there. The internet was getting huge, social media was getting huge, and I then went and started working with my dad. So that's how that ended.
And then
And then I came back after we sold our businesses, and then Poppy was, Pegasus. I started Pegasus with Belinda Stronach.
yep.
She came to me, didn't know anybody in Miami. I sort of introduced her to all the players,
Yep.
Dave and Seth and Lauren Nassau and Alex Pierce. And that was my first foot back into some sort of hospitality, I
Right.
guess.
And then what came next? Was it Joya or was it
No,
Poppy?
he did Joya.
Okay.
And I did Poppy.
Got it. So tell me about Poppy. How did Poppy come?
So Poppy's
Soda.
a very good story, actually. So in 2020, my friend Stevie works for Kabu. Kabu is Rohan. Kabu is the mother company of Smart Water, Vitamin Water, Bai, Pop Chips. They bring these little brands and sell them to big brands, right?
Right.
So they came to me with Stevie, who's now the CMO, said, listen, I'm going to open up this, I'm investing in this company. It's this new probiotic apple cider that was on Shark Tank. We just took it over. Do you want to invest in it? And will you run our marketing in Miami?
So marketing, like as in street team and
Street team. I was mostly, we had a social media team.
right
They didn't have street team, from billboards to you name it. I mean, I was every
distribution.
distribution,
Little pop-up events.
pop-up events.
Help us get into this hotel. Help us get into this
Correct.
restaurant.
All that. I did we did the relationship with Inter Miami. Became one of their sponsors.
Right. What was the company worth at the time that you got involved?
It was a $23 million valuation when I got involved with it.
What
And
happened
we
when
had
you-
no money.
Right.
I mean, we opened Poppy in the middle of COVID.
Right.
So we were no brick and
Oh,
mortar.
so this is only 5 years ago.
Direct to consumer.
Wow. Okay.
So we build it and build it and build it, and we kept building it, and we sold it in 5 years for $1.8 billion.
Pepsi bought it, right?
Pepsi bought it, yeah.
So.
So I stayed with the team with
Right.
Pepsi. I just came back. I'm staying with them. They want me to continue in Miami.
Okay.
And then I'm getting involved in another product that I'm very excited about. which is called Sauz, S-A-U-Z, and it's pasta sauce. Check it out.
SNYU.
S-A-U-Z.
Okay, what sauce gonna be?
Sauz is, they do very well. It's a guy from Miami
Right.
and a guy, they're from California. They just moved to Miami. Kabu just invested like $12 million in it. They really believe this company's gonna sell for a lot of money.
So it's like a Carbonara Reynolds.
Yeah, but there's years and years. It's for the I would say for the Gen Zers. The bottles are all different colors, but the flavor, it's all natural. It's all organic. You can buy it healthy. You know, the old Prego Carbon Rail. They have that
Right.
old Ingrid. This is a disruptor. It's a huge disruptor, and companies. One thing they can't build, like the Kellogg's and all that, they can't build these new products. They're machines, you know?
Right.
So watch out for the sauce. They're gonna be amazing.
And then obviously we know that the story of Liquid, you know, it's a big deal and a big piece of history. Are you guys gonna do anything with it?
A documentary.
Nice.
Yeah,
A documentary. Yeah, they approached us about 4 years ago.
is it that one?
I think they got it, wasn't it? What did we,
Yeah, a little less than
2025? 2022? Oh, maybe 2 years ago.
Right.
Like 2 years ago, that they wanted to do the story of Chris and me at Liquid and South Beach in the 90s, and we filmed it maybe like 2 years ago, or maybe like a year ago.
A year.
And so it's done. It's going to be 3 episodes, 50 minutes each. I think it's really good. Now we're just waiting to see when it will be released.
Amazing. So Chris, and then life after Liquid. I know that I remember 12. I think you started Bianca, right?
Yeah, 2011. I think I moved to. I get a phone call from Andrew Sass.
Right.
And Ron Burkle.
Yep.
And they're like, we want you to go back to Miami. I was living in LA at the time. I didn't have a lot going on.
Oh, that makes sense because the Light owned the Delta, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
The F&B.
Well, they had the, Ron
Oh,
was
that's
one of the
right.
main
That's right.
financiers of
Yep.
the group, and they took over the food and beverage contract. And, Ron tells me, I want you to go back to Miami. And I'm not going back to Miami. And I've been gone for 7 years, no more at the time, 2006. Yeah, 7 years. I was out of Miami for 7 years. I left, at the height, and it was kind of, very controversial. I left, and I disappeared for a while. So they convinced me to come back to Miami, and, without a doubt, Andrew and Ron changed my life. You know why? Because he put me in charge of the most iconic hotel to relaunch all the food and beverage, the restaurant, opened a nightclub called FDR, redid the pool, and
circle.
really did a great job. And, so that stigma of felon in charge of a public hotel, the food and beverage, with Ron Burkle backing me and Andrew,
Oh, that's true.
really did take that stigma. I still deal with it every day,
Sure.
and I always will. But it really helped other people to say, well, Ron could do business with him, I could do business
Correct.
with him. So, I owe a lot to them guys for that. And then from there, it was a big success. I mean, we launched it and we brought some class back to the Delta. We just
Yeah.
didn't have.
Right.
And then Sam Mazarian came and bought it and cheesed it up again and
Yeah.
made it like shit.
Right.
So, when I opened up, we had Chris Bodie in a 12-piece orchestra, not a hip-hop DJ or fucking house
That's
DJ.
right, that's true.
And they were laughing, but you know what? It was an amazing event. People came in suits, and, we did very well with it. Once they sold it, now that, you know what happened to the Devil Life. So from that, as I was running FDR and running the F&B there, me and Dave Brutman became very friendly, and Dave, we convinced Jeff Sulfur to buy the old Amnesia, and we partnered up with Story.
Wow.
And then Story, we launched that as Story from the beginning. It was massive. We killed it. And then 7 months later, a company came along, SFX, and wanted to buy Dave's management and bring it out and bring the company public. And when they saw my name, they panicked. So they bought me out, and they gave me a 2-year non-compete. where I couldn't do any restaurants or nightclubs. So I didn't know what else to do with myself. I'm an entrepreneur at heart, and I only know how to just create things. So I ended up opening up a spa. I had to go called Paciello. But I always felt that this new age medicine,
Med spa?
aging and med spa would be great in the gym. So I ended up opening up Anatomy. I founded Anatomy, built that,
What year was that?
2014.
How did you even, like, you know, everybody knows
Staying
where
in the
Anatomy
club.
is.
I didn't know shit about the gym business, didn't know anything about it.
Oh,
You know,
that's
and I
so
give kids
cool.
that when you know too much, you don't do it because you get nervous. You know all the reasons things can go wrong. If you just start and you figure it out as you go, it might not always work, but at least you took a chance. And so far, it's been very lucky. for me.
Scared money
Everything that
makes
I
no
put
money.
And I got it going. You hire the right people. My partners are amazing.
I guess that was my next question. For Liquid, you had the A team, you know? Did you do the same thing for Anatomy? Did you
Well,
was it
by the
just
time I
one at a
opened Liquid, I learned the club business. So
Right.
So when I opened Liquid, I put the A team together. I picked the right people.
Sure.
I knew a lot of the people. So risk, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I hired people and I learned from them. Liquid, I learned and taught, you know. The gym business, I went into Anatomy, and I'll take credit for some. I'm a humble guy. I don't like to talk about, oh, I'm so
No,
great.
you
I don't
did
do that.
great with
But with Anatomy, gyms back then, you know, in 2014, nobody was using chandeliers and beautiful millwork and marble and stone and all of that. So I, you know, from the nightlife business, created this look and feel like it was a boutique. It's almost like the Delano did to hotels with the
Right.
boutique style. With Ian Schrader came from the club business, went into the hotel business. I went from the club business into the gym business,
Right.
and I created the look and feel. And now every gym and all these recovery centers, they're beautiful. They look like clubs,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
And I take
100%.
some you know,
They,
credit
before
for
they
that.
were all
For sure.
generic.
Very generic, but
Yeah.
like, you know. So
You
then even
warmed it
Equinox,
up.
which is the biggest brand, and they do an amazing job. After we did it. Now all of a sudden they're using the beautiful marble, the stones, the millworks, and the chandeliers.
The
and
cold plunge.
The cold plunges. So the recovery end of it, I think we started that, and
Yeah,
Anatomy
for sure.
Anatomy has grown massively. We have 8 now, and we're building our 9th. And the brand is strong. It's doing amazing, and it's been great.
What's the plan? How many more are you think you're going to go with?
You know, we're looking outside the state to do a couple outside the state, another couple inside Florida, and you know, obviously my main goal is to build it, you know, to a certain number and then sell. You know, let someone else take it to, you know, I don't need $1 billion. I'd be
Right.
happy with it.
I mean, everybody I know works at Anatomy, so, and I think the
Yeah.
fact that you have the right, it's almost like the nightclub. You have the right crowd. It's the
Right crowd,
same.
the right community, you know,
Totally.
it's not as corporate. Like I said, you know, the community in my nightlife and all my business is always taking care of everyone, treating the door valet, the bathroom valet, the same as one of the celebrities.
Yep.
I want to treat everybody the same. And I think the Anatomy has that feeling, that community from us.
Well, even I remember I was rehabbing my ankle after I broke it, and even the rehab that you guys have, the doctors were incredible. And you know, laying down, the owner of Barry's Boot Camp was right next to me, and it just didn't feel. It just felt cool. It just felt VIP, and it felt relaxed. But at the same time, what you guys charge is still very reasonable compared to like what's out there right now.
So Chris has a way of making money out of his passions, right? Whatever that may be. Nightlife, like he likes to go clubbing, he's gonna figure out a way to make money. He likes to play padel, he figures out a way to play.
But then it doesn't become my passion anymore. Then it becomes a job, right? You know?
But
So-
he really does have a knack for that. When he knows something like he's worked out his whole life, right? He just figured out how to, like, he really is such an entrepreneur in the purest sense. In the purest sense, I can't say that enough. You know, where I'm more marketing
Right.
and I can take something and nothing and make it something. Chris is really a entrepreneur like my father was, and just knows how to scale and grow a business.
No,
It's unbelievable.
it's unbelievable.
He doesn't get enough credit for it.
What and then did Joya Beach come before or after Anatomy?
No, what we had, so after I got bought out, I had Anatomy open up. at the time.
Right.
We had our first one, Sunset Harbor. And COVID happened. We had a curfew on Rockwell. And I was sitting home for like 2 weeks, and I just turned 50. And I never wanted to be the old guy.
What did you do a day past 30, by the way?
I'll take 44,
Yeah.
5.
Yeah, totally.
So I turned 50 at COVID, and I realized I didn't have a passion for it anymore. I'm the old man in the club now, sitting there looking around with the young kids, and I just didn't want to do it anymore. So I gave my partner, my brother, the option and said, if you guys want to take it, you want to sell it, what do you want to do? I don't want to do this anymore. At that time, we were signing an agreement with Joya, so I figured, okay, it's a day club, it's a beach club, I still could stay involved, but I don't have to do the nightclub anymore. I don't want to be out at night anymore. I met a new girl, and I was getting, I just didn't want to do it. So we ended up, we were working on the Joya deal for almost 2 years, and it's the first time that I didn't own the place. They wouldn't let me sign a lease. They're, oh no, we can't give you a lease.
What did you do, a partnership agreement?
Not management.
Management deal.
Right? And me, I used to put in my own money, put
Right.
my balls on the line, and
Yeah.
I'm the one who calls the shots.
Right.
So it was the first time I'm in a situation, I worked with Ron and Andrew, but Andrew's
Yeah.
a lifelong friend, and I could always work out anything. These are new people.
Yeah.
And
I mean, the space was beautiful.
it was amazing.
The vibe was
Find
great.
it wasn't beautiful.
Right.
It was an empty little
Sandbox.
next to a highway.
Right.
So it was my idea to, turn this into this place. So me and Mio ended up working almost 2 years for free, trying to get this place open, figuring we have a 20-year contract with these people. And, COVID timing was amazing.
Right.
COVID just happened. They were only allowing outside places to be open. All the people from LA, New York, Miami, Boston, everybody was coming here.
Yeah.
And we just launched. It was like the perfect storm again.
So for restaurateurs or nightclub people who are doing these types of management deals, what advice do you give?
Hire a good fucking attorney. And besides having a good attorney, you have to know the people, because no matter how good the contract is, how good the attorney is, you can still end up in a lawsuit and nobody wins. We ended up in a lawsuit. What happened with us, we told these guys and said, I don't want to get into the whole details
Right.
of it, but they did, make a deal with us. We offered them a typical management deal, 5 and 10. They didn't want to take it. They said, listen, we're going to be allocating a lot of expenses from the park under here. Just take a straight 6. If you hit this number, you'll get 8. I said, fine,
Right.
even better. So we made the deal, and we told them we paid them back. We figured we only have built that place for a little over $2 million, which is unheard of in nowadays. But we know how to do things cheap. I'll go get a U-Haul truck and buy used equipment. I don't mind working, So we opened this place. We ended up paying them back in 6 months. We crushed it. From day one, these guys never gave us any support. They wouldn't give us tables. They wouldn't give us money. We had to wash the dishes a mile away. It was a threat, but they were trying to push us out because now the thing's doing so great. They figured, oh, it's a beach car. Anybody could do this. And they little by little made our life miserable.
Right.
And
But at the same time, you guys were in the magic there.
they don't believe that. It's like
People don't get it.
people don't get it.
People
They
don't
think,
get
oh,
it at all.
I have the space. The space don't make the place. The
No,
people
of
make
course,
the space.
Of course.
Talking land.
That was my speech in anatomy when we first opened this thing. Anybody could have a beautiful gym.
Right.
It's the people that make the gym. It's the people that make the
Correct.
club. That's why these people spend all this money and they fail.
Right.
So we crush it. We do great. We see they don't even come to the opening. They don't. It's like I'm telling you, day in and day out, just
Right.
harassing us, torturing us, trying to make us walk away.
What was the end goal, you think? Like, what's
For us to just take some kind of payout.
for you to
walk away,
give them the keys
and they
and for them
take
to
over
make
the
hold that
place.
money themselves?
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. So let's just say they offered us, finally they had a clause in there that they could fire us for convenience. And they wouldn't sign the deal without it. So they had this plan from the beginning. And I'm a trusting guy, unfortunately.
Right.
So we signed it, but they would have to pay us 2 years of the previous sale. We were only open 1 year. We got closed down because of no permits, but they were supposed to be responsible for. Long story short, the judge saw it our way, and we destroyed.
Good.
What did you really? It was just a name that you sold.
Well, no, we built this business.
Right.
So So they ended up buying the name separately.
Right.
And we went into a lawsuit for, they thought we deserved X. I had an NDA, so they thought we deserved very small fee.
Right.
We thought we deserved this much fee, and the judge agreed with us and gave us much more than we even thought. Like if she told me, here, you write what you think you deserve, I would have wrote much less than she gave me. So, so everyone saw it for what it was. They bullied us out. They got us out. And what was more humbling is the day we walked away and I made the announcement on social media. You can look at the social media. I didn't disparage them. I didn't bad talk. I said, listen, you know, we decided to part ways. They feel they could do it on their way. It was like someone pulled the plug to the place. From that day forward, it shut down.
Absolutely.
You know, it really shut down. It started coming back, you know, 6 months
People
later.
still
The
go
crowd
there
is
now?
so different.
Like private parties, maybe?
No, and I think maybe it was a blessing in disguise for you guys, because after that, you got the noise complaints, you got the residential people.
They got the noise complaints because I knew everyone in 1000 in Venetian.
Right.
So we respected it. One thing about me, no matter if I was a thug, when I came to Brooklyn, I didn't know the business, I always ran a good club. I had Rockwell open for 4 years. We had one lawsuit. It's unheard of.
Right.
Yeah, that's hard.
We ran a good club. I kept drugs on. I kept, you know, I
People
did
respected the
everything.
rules.
Respecting the rules. If people had hoodies on, take the hoodie off. No smoking weed. I kept those pressure on the people, because then if you let them get away with this, they do this. So we always ran a good place. By 12 o'clock, the music was down, the bass was off. We respected it. And once we left, they put speaker stacks, and they were complaining to us if we got any noise complaint. They destroyed the place. They let them run rampant, do what they want, and then it became, you know, a shitty crowd, and, you know, they ended up shutting them down, and, you know, curfews and all that. So we ran, it was calm, 100%, but it was humbling the way the people supported us once we left and didn't go back. It really was humbling.
Who were some of your favorite celebrities that you partied with? I know Chris liked Mike Tyson,
I
but
partied with everybody. I don't know. I don't know what you
The
mean by
ones I
that.
took home.
I don't know what you mean by that.
like, you know.
But I'm still around it.
So I saw pictures of you like Steven Dorff, and I was like, oh my god, it's fucking Steven Dorff.
Yeah, but Stephen Dorff was Guy O'Siri's best friend. He was like, whatever. He was always there. He was always around. Like they were always around. I can't.
Remember when Leo and Steven and these kids were coming to league, they were kids.
Right.
Yeah, they
But
were.
I was a kid too.
Right.
That was
Stephen
Stephen Dorff
They were
to me
babies.
was like, I don't know. Like he was. Oh, I was with Stephen Dorff every weekend.
This is
That was Guy O'Siri's best
30
friend.
years ago,
Yeah.
you know, so they were 20 something years old.
I mean, I think Tupac was cool.
Yeah.
That to me was, and not at the moment when I was going through it, it didn't. But now my son doesn't give a shit about anybody I'm partying with but Tupac.
Cooler than Diddy.
Oh yeah, Diddy.
Any good Diddy stories?
We didn't call him Diddy. We called him Puffy.
Right.
So no.
We
Chris,
had a love-hate relationship.
Got it.
Chris and him had
We
more
used
of
to
a
get into it a
relationship.
lot because, you know, Puff was a good dude, but when he got around 20 of his friends, they thought they were just going to bully and do what they want, and they couldn't do that at my club. So I used to get into it all the time. Pull joints out of their hand, throw them out, get into fights with them, say, yo, you know, not let them in, have beef with them, but we always maintain a mutual respect for each other, you know. And,
Yeah.
and I, you know, do I think, right now, I'm going to get a little insight as an ex-criminal.
Yeah.
He should have never been charged with racketeering, and he should have never been charged with sex trafficking and that shit. He's a guy who had a drug problem, who was a freak in bed, and it was a woman beater. You should have charged him with being a woman beater. Do I respect that? No. I think he has issues for doing that, and hopefully he can go to anger management and this and that, but he doesn't deserve to spend the rest of his life in jail. And I think he's going to be.
You think they're just making it out to be way more?
Yeah, way more than it was. Do I respect the tyrant behavior or the beating of him? No, not at all. But I think he gets out, and I think he changes, and he goes to rehab, gets off the drugs, because I'm sure it started
It's drugs.
easy and it got bad, worse and worse and worse and worse.
And there's just so many eyes and like social media and everything else that I'm sure it doesn't make things.
It had to come to a head eventually. I mean, when he's doing all this stuff, but it should have been a different way, right? But anyhow, I don't even know why they got into
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But
Right.
I haven't seen Puffy like I saw him once in the last 20 years. In the 90s, he was just like a guy that would come to the clubs and see him
he
at
broke,
parties.
what was it, I mean, we had like, some of the fun things,
Yeah.
like he broke, what was I don't know the name
Broke?
of the song.
What do you mean by broke?
Fat Black Pussy, he played that whole school.
Missing?
It was like a funk remix, it was a great song. He broke it that night, and that shit was a massive hit. I forgot the name of it.
I remember I used to see him at Nobu when it was still at Townhouse, and then I would see him at Mint, like, or Opium, like an hour or 2 hours later, and I mean, he was a real fucking celebrity.
Everybody kisses that, and
Right.
everybody runs from him. But
Right.
you know, he was always good to me, even though we had our little issues, stupid stuff over clubs or girls or
Yeah.
whatever. You know.
Oh,
He
wait,
dated J.Lo
that's- I was
after.
wait,
He
hold
never
on a second,
liked
back up.
So when she wanted to get him jealous, she would come to Liquid, and he would tell her, "You're not allowed in that club."
That's
So I had my little things with him all the time.
So you had you were with J.Lo first before.
100%.
She was.
He respected Chris a lot, and that was one guy he didn't fuck with was Chris. Chris was mob though, so,
Right.
you know. I mean, who was he gonna? I mean,
that was-
that's. I don't think that he was gonna disrespect Chris.
Well, I think he also
And
needed.
not
I can handle
mobbed up.
myself. Right. I didn't take shit
I'm
from him.
completely kidding about that.
No, I know. But I think Chris's
what I'm saying-
reputation was that he didn't take shit
Yeah,
from
like
his
he
family.
knew.
And he respected that.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so.
Correct. He can smell weakness. Chris is not a, like he was a young kid, but he
Right.
was very like he knew how to handle himself.
But you know what? At least everything that I've seen. I never saw the thuggish side of Chris, but everything I heard from many people in the industry, always a gentleman. Like that Chris
Until
was
he wasn't.
very soft-spoken.
With the cab driver.
Well, I think it's more
No,
about he wants you to do something.
I didn't let stuff slide easy, but I was always respectful to everybody.
I'm saying he was always a gentleman until believe me, like I always say, if he gave you a punch, he probably
You're gonna feel it.
deserved
And you deserve
He
it.
probably deserved it. That's all I have to say about that. Chris is not like a guy that just goes out fighting
Yep.
people. If something happened, then you deserve it.
So I think I brought this up to you earlier. A good friend of ours, Bill Spector, legend of business. Shout out to Bill. He told me one time, he was like, Chris, I don't know how he does it. He was out all night partying, and then he was hitting the heavy bag at 10 a.m. And I asked him, Chris, how do you do this? And he told me, Bill, I find it that the harder I work, the luckier I am. Do you still find that true today?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, look, do I work as hard as I used to work? No. I don't need as much. I don't want as much. I'm in a amazing place in my life right now. I've done very well for myself. So when I do things now, it's just to keep me busy and, occupied. I don't have dreams of having a private plane. And, so I'm comfortable right now. But
You're more than
I don't need to work right now. But I do work.
Yeah.
I'm building homes. I'm building
Correct.
businesses. I just opened a paddle place. We're opening a bunch
Right.
more gyms. So I keep myself busy only because I don't know any other way.
of course.
But back then it was like I would drink a little bit and then I would stop for 2 weeks just to make sure I didn't drink anymore. If I went hard and got a little bit of pain, I'd get up earlier to go to the gym just to torture myself, just to keep myself in check. It's discipline.
I mean, you guys, I think the both of you guys lived such a crazy life.
Yeah.
Any chance that you guys reunite on a project?
No.
Food and beverage?
Not food and beverage. I mean,
He does his thing.
she asked me to invest in
Yes.
coffee and me like an idiot. I turned it down. So what? I'm happy she made money.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
just-
yeah.
I,
But,
you know,
I mean, as
I
far as
just
clubs, never like anything. But if something good
my
comes on,
hospitality days are over. What the hospitality? I'm in the gym business.
Right.
yeah, but
That's
the nightlife hospitality. But if something good comes along that we both can invest money on,
Yeah,
100%, 100%.
Do you guys think there'll ever be another liquid-ish type place in Miami Beach ever again?
It's just
I
there's
don't
not
think
a
you ever
liquid
think there'll be
time.
another Studio 54.
No.
There'll never be another. Studio 54 was a day where cocaine was fun. It was cool to do cocaine
Right.
out in the open, prelude, sex. And remember
Correct.
one thing, a lot of people tend to forget. Studio 54 lives on to today. It was only open a year and a half.
Right.
A year and a half.
Correct.
It was just a different time, a different era. We walked in, Bianca Jagger comes in with a horse and was celebrating. Roman Jones has a horse in Mokai. They almost crucified him.
And Peter was out picketing.
It's just, you know,
Yeah.
timing is timing, you know? How can
Yes.
you create a time like that?
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, but there will be something else that comes
Correct.
along that, you know, we're not realizing how great it is till once it's gone. But I don't think there'll ever be another like it.
Do you think Miami Beach in general will ever be back to the heyday it was, or do you think?
There's more money in Miami Beach now than there ever was.
Right.
Obviously, there's more big business. But you know, that heyday coming down here, and you know, when I came here, this was what it was. There was fashion shoots on the streets. There was only models. There was gay people. There was celebrities,
Fashion designers.
fashion designers, and that was it. And everybody wanted to go to the beach in the day and party at night and do it all over again and have fun. That's it. So when I came here, I had some hustle for the fucking bank robber and everything else, you know. But when I came here, I had a New York hustle, and I enjoyed going out every night. But I saw an opportunity to make money, so I steamrolled everybody because I was like, fuck this, I'm gonna go.
Because you had the New York
And
hustle.
by the way, when we didn't have to, there's Wynwood Design District.
Yeah, right. There was
You know what I
only
mean?
Miami Beach.
There was
If you
only-
left Miami Beach,
That was it.
there was nothing to do.
Right.
I would go on a date to Coconut
Correct.
movie theater on a Sunday. Other than that,
That was like Jacksonville, driving to
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
It was
There was
corny and
nothing
cheesy
else.
anywhere.
Correct.
So
you had
now
no-
you have so many different neighborhoods. It's like
Everybody's spread out.
Yeah.
So no, you're
It's-
never gonna recreate that, and that's okay. It's
Miami's
just
still
all the time.
great. It's just a
Yeah.
different type of great.
Right.
Right.
You know?
So now we'll end the segment off on, I guess, what are your top 3 favorite restaurants in Miami?
In Miami? Oh God, let me think about that.
No particular one.
Okay, I love, the, what's the Joya place called?
Oh, Forte de Miami.
Forte Marmi,
Great selection.
incredible.
What do you love about it?
I think Andrea is a very good owner, reminds me a lot of owner manager. He reminds me a lot of Nicola. He's very good with people. I love the atmosphere. I love the people, everything. I think he's done a phenomenal job. Top, and the food's fantastic.
Number 2.
So my number 2 would be Mandolin. I think it has such a great experience. I love the vibe. I love the food. And I would have to say number
One.
3, Amal.
Amal.
In
Great
Coconut
one.
Grove.
Great one.
I love Amal. in
Good
Coconut
job.
Grove. They
Level
do a
6
great
bar,
job.
the Vivos Inc. guys, yeah.
Those fantastic.
This is such a difficult question because
I listen to you, I can't
you know, if I don't say Papa's Day, I don't say one of the
major food or something like that. You're in
But,
trouble
you
with
know,
everybody.
Just places that you like with the food.
Porto Soleil is my favorite Italian restaurant,
Yep.
authentic Italian restaurant by far. I love Porto Soleil in the Vegas.
That is so good.
It's so
What do you like about it?
Everything.
the people, the service is outstanding. It's authentic. I mean, the food is excellent. I mean, really authentic Italian food. And I want to embrace New York style where we grew up in Brooklyn from it.
Right.
Right? Milos is my favorite restaurant. It's consistent, clean. I like eating clean, healthy, you know?
So number 2 is Carbone?
Carbon Vito.
Vino, okay, so the one in the Grove.
Yeah, I like the one in the Grove.
I do too. I have to say, that would be number 4 for me.
Okay.
Carbon Vito.
And then, so Carbone Vino, what do you like about it?
Food I grew up on, comfort food, you know? So the meatballs, the spicy rigatoni, the shrimp scampi, you know, it's just, you know, eating the blocks of cheese they bring with the bread.
Right.
You know, it's what as soon as I taste it, it's like going to any restaurant in Staten Island or Brooklyn. So
The design's cool. It's
and,
like
and the
guns.
design, the look,
The
it
guns
brings you
look.
back a little
Yeah.
bit to a different era. Those guys are professionals. They're
Yeah.
great.
I think that's
I agree.
Great.
They're great.
And then number 1? Again, no particular
Hey, I'm
order.
not gonna lie.
Just
I
as fun.
you know,
Whatever you want.
Milos,
What's your favorite?
Milos.
Yes.
I love Milos. Milos.
Yeah.
I'm a clean eater. So I'm not a big foodie. I just like, you know, I could eat clean fish every day. But Milos to me is just consistent, authentic, you know, great Mediterranean food.
Perfect. That's a good
Yeah.
list.
Guys, thank you so
Poppy,
much.
sorry,
This
I
was
love you.
such an
This was
honor.
awesome.
Guys, this was such an honor. Chris, you are my spirit animal.
Thank you.
Ingrid-
By the way, I just want to say one thing. We don't do these because, not because any other reason, just don't need it. I'm not plugging it, I'm earning the notoriety. But I truly, truly respect what you're doing for the hospitality industry.
Yes.
I think you're authentic, I think you tell the truth, and I think people should really listen to what you say. You give a lot of good advice, and
I agree.
You know, I respect what you do.
Coming from you guys, honestly, for my spirit animal and someone, if she ever gets off the wagon, me and her are gonna party big time.
I'm gonna make sure that's
I said,
the old Chris, like,
but I said the same thing when I heard. I didn't even know who you were. I listened to what you were saying, and I was like, oh my! I think I even sent you a link to his once of something you were saying that was so right on about
everything. This
everything. You're right on about all of it. About
You give good advice to
good
people
advice
that
about
come here
people
and get
investing their money and
I think, and that's why I really wanted you guys on, is because you guys have seen it, you guys have been through it.
Yes.
So, you know, I like to warn people about, as much as landlords hate my guts, because
it's okay.
it doesn't fit with their narrative. For me, it's just protecting restaurants and people in hospitality of not spending every last.
You're doing them a favor. Nobody wants to sign a bad tenant and that's not going to make it in their
Correct.
place that fails 10 times.
Or a bad management deal, or, you know, just a bad.
Yeah.
You're right.
You know,
No,
You're
I
doing
think
great.
what
Keep
you're
up
doing
the
is
good work.
fantastic. I would have done it for anybody else, like nothing.
Guys, honestly, this was such an honor.
So
Well, definitely, this is number one.
It's a lot
and,
painless than I thought, too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
yeah,
this was amazing. Definitely when the movie is getting ready to come out, let's have you guys on again
okay.
and plug it on. And today, Felix, Chris, and Ingrid gave you just the tip.